Hey everyone, it's me, Ben. Go, Ben. To fix the YouTube thing. Okay, it's fixed. Hello, everybody. I have 2 drinks today. $401 subs. We only need 99. By the way, my 99 joke is also done by poker vlogger. What's his name? He's the only guy I watch. Anyway, whenever somebody has 99, he goes 99. And he says, a pessimistic German's favorite hand. 99. What's his name? I can't remember people's names. So good. But I can. Oh, Brad Owen. I remembered it as I was looking it up. So Brad Owen stole my 99. Why is there 1 viewer? Yeah. 1 viewer's pretty good. What's wrong with that? Did you do the cataract surgery? Man, that was like a year ago. Yeah, cataract surgery was Tuesday of last week, and today's Tuesday. So I've streamed Friday, Saturday, Sunday since the surgery, talked about it. This is my 4th stream. Yeah, it seemed to work out well. Nothing hurt. Nothing hurt after. I take drops. Seems fine. Ulf Anderson, I can't do next because he's alive. I'm doing well, thank you. You've used my ready opening recommendations. What? I must have done a video on the ready opening at some point in my life. When are you going on that extended vacation? I will be in Vegas from June 19th to July 2nd. It shouldn't affect the 5 minutes with Ben. Those should be coming out every day. But there won't be any streams from me or Karen in that time. Also, Thursday morning, I'm going to Detroit to visit everybody. I'll be back for my stream Saturday. And one of my best friends, one of my dad's best friends, his name is Wes Berger. He's a chess master. He turns 85 next month. He's one of the guys I'm visiting. I'm staying with him, actually, in his home. I didn't put this here, although I thought about it, but he beat Hort in the early 70s when Hort was at his peak. I didn't want to show games Hort lost because Hort passed away yesterday. So I didn't want to be like, here's my friend crushing him. Maybe I should have. Felix Frias subscribed. Thank you. You wrote a poem on how beautiful your wife is. Well, she thanks you. I should do some rock climbing while I'm in Vegas? That sounds terrible. Sounds like I would get hurt or killed, and it would be 100 degrees on me. That sounds terrible. Wes Berger, because I'm a vegan, spells his name Gar, not Ger. So now I can be friends with him. There. Now we can be friends. Toast 1078 subscribed. Real Sean Deeb subscribed. Thanks, Sean. On Sunday, Karen played in a tournament at Cherokee with the 400 entry, and she came in 30 something, and she won 1,065. So she played in 6 events and cashed in 3 of them, made a small profit. So that was good. She's playing poker right now at this Tuesday night thing. Sometimes Dan and Sarah go. They have poker more than once a week. You sort of like pay money for food and they give you chips. And they have software that remembers the hands. And like Dan's company like provided the software, hardware. I don't know. Anyway, it's like 10 minutes from our house. So Karen goes there on Tuesday nights, plays poker. Yeah, Showdown. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and Dan and Sarah don't usually go there on Tuesday. They go on like Saturday. But she saw him there on a Tuesday 2 or 3 weeks ago. Anyway, Karen cashed in half her events. That's good. Hard work pays off. In Brad Owen's last vlog, he complained that he wasn't getting any hands. Well, the hands he did get were like aces, ace-king suited, ace-queen suited, ace-queen off, king-queen suited, pocket nines. And I'm like, in one session, I've never gotten the good hands like that. Although his sessions are longer than mine. His session might have been 7 or 8 hours. But I mean, he had a lot of good hands for somebody who has no good hands. I guess you got to complain about something. When Brad Owen plays, there's usually the 7 deuce game on. And maybe he doesn't show the 7 deuce when he folds. Maybe. But he always raises it up and re-raises and all in. Every 7 deuce hand. He wants that $300 from everybody. It's funny. That's the most aggressive he plays when he has 7 deuce. Those are the funniest hands. Yeah, when I play poker in a casino cash game, casino lets you do nothing. You can't run it twice. You can't chop. You can't play the 7 deuce. You can't do nothing. Like when he plays in a casino, like in Bobby's room or at the Wynn, the players do whatever they want. But yeah, when I play, you can't do anything. You can't even win the pot with the best hand. They're like, sir, you don't win pots in this casino. Yeah, we have a hype train. I didn't notice. Too busy talking to Sean. Come on, we need like 200 bits to get to level 2. Don't embarrass me by dying on level 1. Is pot illegal? Uh, in Vegas, de jure, pot is illegal. De facto, it is not. Yeah, if you smoke pot in Las Vegas, nobody cares. It doesn't matter what the law is. If the police see you smoking pot, they won't do anything. It's like that in a lot of places. A trying to learn. HSTV. Man, the thing died. Okay, so I have to apologize to chess.com. I mean, I don't have to, but it seems like the right thing to do. I was complaining that they had me on the wrong time Sunday. That was actually my fault. They had me on the right time Sunday. I just forgot that like 6 months ago we changed our time. Even though it's been that time for months. I just forgot. I thought Saturday and Sunday was both 6:30, but Sunday, I thought it was 7 to 9, but Sunday is 8 to 10. It's been 8 to 10 for months. I just forgot. Because I'm old and I forget. Tell us about the Vienna. Typically on Tuesday, I have tournaments, but since I found out today that Vlastimil Hort died yesterday, I believe he was 81, and 85 to 90% of you haven't heard of him. I thought we'd look at his games, although I think I've done a Great Players of the Past on him. I think I've done a sponsored lecture on Hort. Vlastimil Hort was in the top 10 in the world at his peak, and he was a strong grandmaster in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He played like FIDE-rated chess for about 50 years. He even played like in 2020, although not professionally, just because I guess he still liked to play chess. He was a very great personality, spoke a lot of languages, was very funny, gave funny speeches at tournaments, and a joy to be around. Also, if the guy whose handle on Twitch is Xerawan comes to the stream as of last week, I've been told by the chess.com brass that his issue has been taken care of and everything's fine now. Of course, he'll log on to Twitch and say nothing's happened. But Ben talks about Holt. No, it's Hort. It's a Hort day's night, I know. It's been a Hort day's night, and I've been blundering all my pawns. Yeah, Holt is somebody else. Conrad Holt is a 30-year-old GM. No, all we're going to do today is look at the best games of Vlastimil Hort. Peter told me that he's lecturing at the Charlotte Chess Club tonight, which I think he does every Tuesday night, and he said he's going to show Hort's games. Hort was actually born a grandmaster, and they said, how did you become good at chess so quickly? He said, my name's Vlastimil. What do you want? Hi, Ben. I was wondering if you would be willing to do a viewer's games as a lecture. What? Probably not, if I understand your question. Yeah, if you want to sponsor a lecture, it's not going to be like, hey, I'm 1700. Here's 5 of my games. I'm sponsoring the lecture. Do as I say. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have the sponsored lecture be random chess players' games. Players should be at least IM strength, hopefully on the strong IM side. Yeah, Sunday, I do viewer game analysis where viewers submit games and I analyze them. That's sort of what you want, although you may want just your games analyzed. But yeah, that's not going to be a lecture. That would just be terrible. There's a lot of poker talk on YouTube. It's a good thing Sean Deeb doesn't see the YouTube comments. Oh, he does. You can see them at the bottom. Sorry about that, Sean, that you have to read those. If you see YouTube comments in the stream, which is like below my video, don't read them. You got laid off today? Sorry. Can we get a lecture on Levy? Yes, if somebody sponsors a lecture on, again, lectures that I do on Wednesday, which I publish on YouTube, those are sponsored. If somebody wants to sponsor a lecture on Levy, his best games, his worst games, his best draws, I don't care. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, he's an IM. And he's a famous person. Have you read The Royal Game? Typically, if you start a sentence with, have you read? Then the answer is going to be no. Yeah, somebody from Led Zeppelin should sponsor a lecture I do on whether the levee will break. That would make sense. Yeah, if you guys want to sponsor a lecture, which I do every week on Wednesday, you can watch live for $10. Or you can sponsor the lecture and watch live for free. Just contact Karen and she'll explain to you what to do. Have you ever done a lecture on Naroditsky before? I don't think so. Carl with a C subscribed. 3 years. Hooray. No, I heard about that. That Hikaru and his opponent played over 800 moves today in a Title Tuesday Blitz game. We're going to analyze that game, except for one thing. Yay, Minkle Moment gifted 2 subs. Good, good. Do you have a favorite classic Hollywood movie? I mean, I don't understand the question, but I'll give you an answer anyway. Because this will qualify as a classic Hollywood movie. Other answers I give may not. It's a tie for first between 12 Angry Men and Casablanca. Are you playing tonight? No. They did a good takeoff on 12 Angry Men on Family Guy. Okay. Make a marker. If you're a moderator, you don't have to make markers anymore. Karen ignores ones that aren't made by me. Okay, so the first game we're going to look at is Werner Hug, Swiss Grandmaster, although he might have been an IM in 1972, against Hort, Black. This was played at the 72 Chess Olympiad, so forth. I think this is the only game Hort's Black in the games that I chose. And if you ask me, was Hort better in the 60s, 70s, or 80s? I don't know. I'm going to say 70s. But it's possible he was better in the 60s or the 80s. I don't know. He was good in 60s, 70s, and 80s. He was good in all three. Okay. So Hort has Black. They transpose into a Queen's Indian. This position was very popular in the 70s. Okay, nobody plays knight takes e4. Queen c2 used to be the most common move, which I'm sure it was in 1972. And Bishop d2 is probably the most common now. I don't know that move at all. That move just seems like this is just equal. Nothing's happening. Still nothing's happening. The engine likes f5. Control the e4 square. The engine doesn't like that. Never play f3. Hort's playing aggressively. Queen e8's the best move. King g2 it says is terrible. It likes queen h5. It likes queen g6. Yeah, it says black is strategically winning here by just doubling rooks on the f file. White doesn't have any counterplay. Okay, and Hort plays the engine move. I don't think Kramnik is suspicious of this game, even though Hort's always playing the engine move, because this was played in 72. But you never know. Yeah, the engine doesn't like g4. It wants to double up on the bubble up. It doesn't like e5. It still wants to double rooks. It says queen d3 is terrible. It says black's winning again. That's a blunder. And in this position, Hort's move is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if engines were playing, black would play rook f3, confusing the audience. I think if Hort played that, even I would think he's cheating, even though it's 72. Like he used the time machine and during the game and found the right move and came back. He played here, which is also winning. That's a good sacrifice. Rook f3 is still the best move. Bam! Hort didn't want to sacrifice his rook until he sacrificed his bishop first. You can see White's pieces on the queen side are shallow and pedantic. Black has all the play on the king side. So if you take this, then I take with double check. Then if you play king h1 or king h3, queen g2 is mate. So king f1's forced. Then queen takes g1 is mate. f2 is a quicker mate. If bishop takes, queen takes mate. If king e2, then I take making a queen with mate. And what's funny is that's the only mate in one. Playing here or making a rook is not mate because king has e3. That's the only mate. Okay, White didn't like this position. Understandable. So he played knight e3. Rook f2 is the best move. If bishop takes f2, knight takes f2 is mate. Black's threatening rook h3 with mate to follow. And this position, actually, knight takes isn't mate. In fact, that's the best move. The best move for black, for white, is to actually give away his queen. So it says every move is mate except this. This is the only way to play that's not mate. And it says black is about +7. And the truth hurts. Okay, white decided not to do that, so white resigned. That was a pretty overwhelming game where white was super passive the whole game and Hort just ran him over. Yeah, Werner Hug is like, always was one of the top 5 players in Switzerland and would play on the Swiss Olympic team. But Hort was top 10 in the world. So sort of a mismatch. Like at my best, I'm better than Werner Hug. So not a tough opponent for Hort when Hort was in his prime. Yeah, that was pretty overwhelming. Is Dina Belenkaya better than Werner Hug? No. Albert played Alekines all the time. Hort played it occasionally. Is Eric Hansen any good? Yeah. No, I've never played Hort. The only person in the chat is Sean Deeb, if he's still here, who knows the answer to the question, who's better, Eric Hansen or Gus Hansen? That's right, C.L. Smith. Actually, Hort's son is named Bortnick. Hey, I have an important question. And the reason it's important is it's not important at all. But I've seen both answers to my question. So I want to nail it down to one answer. You guys can search the internet, although some of you won't. You'll just give your opinion, and then somebody else will give the opposite opinion. It doesn't help me. But when I listen to Sirius XM and The Who comes on, it says the artist is Who. It doesn't matter what channel it is. It doesn't say The Who. It says Who. Then when they talk about The Who on Sirius XM, like the DJs talk about them, or I guess they're not DJs, but whatever they are, they call them The Who. So when they talk about them, they're The Who, but when they write who the artist is, they write Who. So technically, is their name Who or The Who? Existential Drip subscribed. Only the internet knows. And also, if they were playing at a concert that Vlastimil was at, would the name of the concert be Hort Here's a Who? I did no research, but definitely The Who. And if they are Who instead of The Who, in England, are they whom? It's Chess with Ovi making his gallant return. You have a DVD? What's that? Is that next to your VHS tapes and your cassettes and 8 tracks? Snap. It's Chess with Ovi. Okay, that's enough Hort games. Hope you enjoyed that. Now I'm just going to sit here in silence for 90 minutes. Go Minkle moment. Okay, let's. Oh, I have another question that's more subjective. I'm just interested in what the chat says. Although I understand 85% of the chat hasn't heard of The Who, but let's assume you've heard of them. Who's the more talented person in The Who, Townsend or Daltrey? The guy who does windmill guitar thing. Jimi Hendrix. Where'd that come from? Okay, the chat, as of usual, was of no help. Okay, next game. We have two great players from the past. This game was played 1973 in Madrid. Vlastimil Hort, white against Lajos Portish. Portish is still alive. Portish was born one day before my dad, and Hort was born the same year as my mom. Portish is actually 88 years old now, but he's still alive. Hort has white. Queen's Gambit, classical variation, orthodox. Still theory. Well, I showed this game. Oh no, that was a different game. Never mind. I was thinking of another Portish game where he was white in similar position. Hort sacks a pawn. Engine says c5 is bad. Engine says bishop takes c5 is bad. Hort refutes it by taking on f6. The engine actually prefers rook takes c5. But says this is winning too. Always repeat. Good job, Hort. Always repeat. Okay, in this position, white has checkmate, but Hort missed it. Although Hort did checkmate him a few moves later. So it's funny. Hort played rook b1. Now black should play queen e7. although black is losing. After bishop b5, then Hort saw what he could have done here. He just didn't see it until this position. It's the same tactic. Everything's the same, but he didn't see it here. White has forced checkmate. Do you guys see it? Always repeat. As per usual, the chat is correct. Kingpin says rook g4 question mark. What he meant was rook g4 exclam. And C.L. Smith said sack everything. Right. QGD. What's funny is this game was a QGD. Portish was probably one of the top 10 players in the world 1973. So that's a good win for Hort. Yeah, Portish didn't defend very well that game. Kingpin is correct again. Boy, everybody on YouTube is still talking about poker. This game is from 1973. The first game was from 72. Yeah, the screen froze. No, this is a protein shake that's vegan. Chocolate milk sounds good, as long as the milk is vegan. And the chocolate is. Never play f6. As Kingpin pointed out so eloquently, when black played rook a7, he made this tactic available because the rook on f8 is hanging with mate. So if black plays f6 or f5, queen takes f8 as mate. The computer takes on h2, and after king h2, plays g3 check, and then it gives up mate in 1. How do you source the protein? I don't source it. Carl with a C. No. Well, you're human, C.L. Smith. You can't see all these computer moves. There's a remake of American Woman by the well-known vegan, what's his name? He's a well-known vegan. I forgot his name because I'm old. I said his name 1,000 times in my life. Yeah, Lenny Kravitz. Yes, I think all the best players who ever lived are vegan, although you misspelled chess and you correctly spelled correlational. How do you misspell chess and spell coordinational correctly? What? Did you see Nepo stream today in Russian? I mean, I don't know why that's chat worthy. No, of course not. Why would I watch somebody stream in Russian? Why would I watch him stream? Why is this news? Normally I would ban you, but you're a good guy. Okay. I don't know if I did a marker for that one. I don't think I did. Oh well, it's tough being old. Okay, the third game we're going to show is the game Vlastimil Hort White versus Ivan Radulov, played in Sunny Beach, which I think is in Bulgaria, 1974. Now, this is a total coincidence that the first game I showed was from 72, second game from 73, this is from 74. Yeah, you'll see fine gold stamp on a lot of stuff that's valuable. Yeah, I asked Vlastimil once, how come you never win games in 10 moves or less? And he said, my wins are Hort victories, not short victories. Was the Canadian gold bar shaped like a hockey puck? Okay, Hort's white, Radulov is black. Open Sicilian. They played a rouser. I've had black in this position many times. And in this position, I always play knight takes d4. Radulov played another move, which I've never played, which the engine says is okay. D5. I'm sure he's still in his prep. Now it looks more like a French defense. Yeah, the engine likes knight f3, so that's good. The game's almost over. I think they're still in theory. Yeah, and Hort played the engine move, queen e3. Okay, so in this position, Radulov blundered. He obviously didn't see the point of queen e3. White wants to play bishop h7, knight g5 check, queen h3. That's why Hort played queen e3. So in this position, black needs to move the f pawn either to f5 to block the bishop, or f6 to stop knight g5. Engine says they're about the same, and white is better by about 0.6. Radulov underestimated or didn't see it and played rook b8, losing immediately. Terrible. Good thing he was on a sunny beach. Bam! Since this was the Sunny Beach tournament, after this move was played, Radulov yelled out, "Sunny of Beach!" Okay, then king takes, knight g5 check. If you play king g8, queen h3, the engine says you have to take the knight and give your queen away. So he played king g6, queen h3, and this position, the engine move is queen takes knight, which, I mean, a grandmaster's not going to play queen takes knight against another grandmaster because got a queen with an exposed king. The other engine move is rook h8, which just hangs the rook. Ridiculous. Okay, so the third engine move, which is the only move you can play and be serious about continuing the game, which he did not play, he resigned, is knight f6. Because, you know, you're stopping mate, and you're sacking a piece, but you're up a piece. Okay, then the engine says e takes, and it says white's plus 10. God damn. Yeah, in this position, white's a pawn up, black's king is on g6. That's not good. So instead of knight f6, which is the only move you can play to continue the game, in my opinion, black resigned. Although the engine says queen takes g5 is the best move. Ridiculous. Where's Karen? We've already explained that. Your French games are shallow and pedantic. Your French games do go like this, except you're black. Oh, snap. Ah, there's a check in the chat. Yeah, he left Czechoslovakia, I think, before it changed its name. And he moved to West Germany, and then later Germany. Yeah, Hort spoke Czech, German, and English, and probably some other languages. But those three, I know he spoke. Okay, now we'll take a break. and let people give subs so we can get to 500. You guys have a chance now to donate. That's because it says there's 42 people, now 40, watching on YouTube and 1,800 watching on Twitch. So I checked the YouTube chat. Usually I don't mention it because they talk about poker or something. I don't know what he was thinking in 1974. All I know about 1974 is Homer Simpson said that's the year that rock and roll was the best. That's when music hit its peak. Oh, I have some emails. It says, you're streaming now. Thank you. Security alert, you logged in. Okay. Those are good emails. Ben, why don't you ever play poker on stream? Karen plays poker on stream. I do chess. Should I log off and study for my final? Never. Do I have any jokes that I can also tell my dad? Yes. Tell your dad, why does Dr. Pepper come in a bottle? And when he says why, say because his wife died. That's a good joke to tell your dad. You guys don't think that's a good joke to tell your dad? Perfect joke for Chess TV. See, C.L. Smith said his dad would like that joke. Yeah. What's the best way to get to 2,000? Play better. I'll tell my dad tomorrow. I'll save that one for Father's Day. I will tell him if we ever speak again. Man, the truth hurts. I just told him. See, I gave the guy good advice. Do you have any kids? Yes, I have 2 kids. It's Saruman. Yeah, before you were here, I told the chat that chess.com people in charge told me that they took care of your problem. See what you get for subbing? Get your account back. Wouldn't you sacrifice a Danish on c3? Not on f3. When Bart gave the stolen Danish to Krusty, Krusty said, "Where'd you get this Danish?" And what did Bart say? This isn't a joke. This is just an episode of The Simpsons. I mean, it's a joke. No, he said, "I stole it off of Kent Brockman." And Krusty said, "Great." Boy, that was the answer Krusty wanted to hear. Okay. Okay, now we're going to look at our fourth game, played in 1982 at Hogovens, which is in Vaikanze. They call it Tata Steel now, I think. Used to call it Chorus. Vlastimil Hort's white, and he's playing Murray Chandler. Murray Chandler is a British grandmaster who moved to either Australia or New Zealand. Nobody can tell the difference. And I think spent most of his life there. Okay. Chandler played the Carol Khan. They played one of the main lines. I'm sure this was the most popular way to play 1982. I've had black in this position when I played the Carol Khan. This is still theory. This is a game that I played at U.S. Championship against Gregory Kaidanov, which ended in King versus King. And it was the last round. So, the big question in the Carol Khan in this variation is whether black should castle king side, castle queen side, or not castle at all, or delay. And when this game was played, everybody castled queen side, but Murray Chandler didn't do that. So, like queen c7, most popular move. But he pretended like he was going to castle king side, and then after knight e4, you can castle king side. He said, "Just kidding," and played a5. Hort always played king b1, just like he always repeated against Portish. Black tries to get some queenside space before he castles. Finally castles. And Engine already hates black's position. A lot of times when black plays queen d5 and the Caro wants to play queen e4 and trade queens, that's why Hort played rook e1. A lot of times when white plays g4, the knight's on f3, so black can take, white gets the open g file, black is a pawn up with a better pawn structure, but Hort already played knight e5, so Hort has everything he wants. Okay, Engine says that's terrible. c5. It says Chandler should play knight to d7, but he was receiving help from the game from Joey, and Joey preferred c5. I've never made a friend's joke. Not on stream and not in real life. That was my first one. I was going to say Monica, but I thought it was funnier to say Joey because he's supposed to be dumb. Okay, so he played c5. g5, recommended by the engine. Now the engine says that white's winning. Black did not take on g5, which engine actually agrees with the move Chandler played. If you take on g5, white puts it in h, and if you have black in this position, then you want to play g6 and block it up, but if you play g6, I just take it. You can't take my knight because I'm coming to mate you, and if you don't play g6, your king is just too exposed. There's just too much action to your king. Engine says +5 for white. Okay, so Chandler played c4. That's the engine move. It just says white's winning, black has no attack. Okay, and then Hort followed very important rule, which they knew even in 1982, which is always sack the exchange. Then this position, taking here and taking here both lose. Unfortunately, after queen takes, the best move is f3, attacking the queen and attacking the bishop. And then queen b7 is the best move, then bishop h6 wins. So this is the engine line that just says white's winning. The problem with the obvious bishop f6 is I take on g7, and if you take back, I put it in h, and if you defend your bishop with f6 or f5, it doesn't matter which one, I have a cute mate. You can't play king f7 because it's illegal, and then mate. So Chandler didn't do that. He played bishop takes g5. Queen takes g5, and he played f6, never play f6. And in this position, engine says the best way to play is queen takes e4, rook g1, queen h7 is forced, h6. It says white's +7 here if black defends accurately. The best line is rook a7, takes, and then knight g4. I'm going to go here next move, or here. Frankly, terrible for black. Okay, so he never played f6, and even though this was years before Pulp Fiction, at this point in the game, Hort stood up and said, "You will know my name is the Lord." And then he played the following move. Okay, so what did Hort play here? Today was my lowest weight in many years. I was 230.6, which is better than 236. I haven't been in the 220s in probably 10 years or more. So that might happen in the next 2 or 3 days. Queen takes G7. If we have a mod in the chat, anybody who says Queen takes G7 is banned. Why is Tensor Extension banning the guy who says it's hard to lose weight? What? He didn't even say Queen takes G7. One guy, Winkle Moment, said Queen takes G7 double question mark. That is correct. Queen takes G7 is double question mark. Mod fight. That's right, C.L. Smith. C.L. Smith had the right answer, H6. Now, they stopped the round to have a concert, and the first singer was Lizzo, and she sang The Truth Hurts. Chandler resigned. If you capture the queen, it's the same checkmate I showed you earlier. White's threatening mate in 1 with Queen G7. And White's also threatening mate in 2 with H7, Knight G6 mate. The engine says the only way to avoid mate in 2 is to play Rook F7. It says it's still mate. We check, then we take the queen for free. And we're threatening to take this and queen. God damn. This is the most lost position I've ever seen. And that's if black plays correctly. Okay, so after H6, Chandler resigned. Hort's vegan now. Oh, snap. Frankly, delicious. Okay, time for another game. Black's name is so awesome, it's amazing he lost so quickly. That's called the termite diet. Okay, this game was played in 1967 in the Warsaw Pact Team Championship. Can't make that up. Hort's white and his opponent, name is Viktor Savalievich Zelyandov. God damn. The guy was born a master with a name like that. Okay, so Hort's white, and they played an exchange Rui. This was played in 67. This was one of the main lines. I think it still is. I've had this position with black. My brother used to play this with white a lot. So knight a5, idea is to stop the bishop from moving. And if black plays b6, then white will play knight c4. That engine says white's slightly better. Black made a mistake and played bishop g4. And the reason black played bishop g4 was he couldn't believe that white would ever play f3 because never play f3. So he totally disregarded that. Now, my favorite line is the second engine line where white sacks the exchange and then takes on b7 and the engine says that's equal. What? How could that be equal? Okay, so Hort played f3. And now, the best move for black, the only move, is bishop c8. Admitting your mistake. Saving your bishop and pawn. But Zelyandinov played for tricks, not realizing in 1967 that tricks are for kids. And Hort took advantage of his lucky charm, and black castled. After black castled, Hort got his kicks. That's like 3 jokes. Okay, so idea is if I take the bishop, we take on h2, we take the rook, and engine says white is very slightly better. This would be a good puzzle on chess.com. And so Hort played the winning move, and then black resigned. And truth hurts. Kingpin corrected his answer of e5 question mark with e5 exclam. Yeah, e5 wins the game. He's got the 2 bishops, and they're both attacked. So if you take with the pawn, you can no longer play bishop takes h2 check. White's up a piece. If you take with the bishop, I trade rooks. Then I take your bishop, and white's up a bishop or a knight. So e5 wins a piece. Obviously, black missed that when castling. Knight c3, you're banned. I've actually seen this before. I wonder if it's because of this game. I've seen this tactic. Yeah, every grandmaster knows. When they give you the grandmaster title, they tell you this. So this guy probably was like an IM or an FM. When you play Hort, you castle short. And then he castled long, so he got crushed. That's a nice way to end the game. Challenge canceled. Yeah, the chess principle that's important in this game is win bishops. I'm positive you've shown this game before. Well, then I definitely haven't. Your spelling of every word is wrong. It's funny, you spelled everything wrong, then you started spelling everything right. Usually it's the other way around. Let's see what happened in the basketball game that I was watching. Let's see. Indiana. Indiana Fever versus Atlanta Dream. What? Pacers won by 9. Man, Cavaliers really stunk it up. Man, Mobley led the Cavaliers in rebounds, and Mobley got 6 rebounds. Frankly, terrible. Darius Garland led the Cavs in assists, and he got 3 assists. I mean, I almost got 3 assists, and I didn't even, go to Cleveland. Oh, did the Braves win? I was watching the Braves game too. They were up 3-2. Your spelling of Vlastimil is 0-2. Yeah, Washington's not a good team. You also spelled lecture wrong. There, you spelled game wrong. Terrible, Kingpin. You spelled more words wrong than right. I like the way you corrected Vlastimil, but you still spelled it wrong. That's right. Well, I said Hort was only white first game, but he's black in the first game, but he's also black in this game. Okay, this is Tony Miles, white, Hort black, Amsterdam, 1982. Man, Hort's playing the Jobava London before Jobava was born. Okay, but not really. He just played the Richter Veresov, an opening you guys haven't heard of. Engine already prefers black. Knight b5 is a funny move when you're a super GM. Jobava would approve. Now, even though this game was played in 1982, Hort put it in H. H5. The engine doesn't approve, but That's how engines play today. So, okay, and white retreated, knight GE2. Now the engine likes black again. Knight A6 is interesting. Played C5. And black played the only good move. I assume he spelled past incorrectly on purpose because he was spelling things wrong before. But I'm not sure because it's kingpin. So it's hard to tell. When did you go vegan? About 6.5 years ago. C.L. Smith is right. Bishop takes C5. God damn. Now, in this position, Tony Miles played the only good move. It's the engine move. What's the best move for white as played by Miles? Anyway, when Hort was at the concert and he heard a Who, or the Who, the Who was singing "I Can See for Miles and Miles," which reminded him of this game. Queen takes B7 is shallow and pedantic. After knight B4, it says white's lost. I got surgery on Tuesday last week. Today's Tuesday. When I had surgery last Tuesday, on Wednesday, I did my weekly lecture. Because, surgery's over. It's Dreams Day. Welcome to the stream. C.L. Smith is right. I mean, not C.L. Smith. Trying to learn is right. He gave two moves. That way one of them could be right. And one of them is. Your other move is very silly. But the one that's right is right. Okay, anyway, knight F4. That's the engine move. Bishop E7 is the engine move. Now, in this position, Miles made a move the engine doesn't like. Bishop takes A6. Says it's okay, but it now prefers black. Then Miles made a very bad move. Queen B7, threatening both pawns. Hort played Queen C8. And then Miles decided not to trade queens and went back. Terrible. Now black is close to winning. Yeah, so black's up 2 pawns. Now, to confuse the audience, which is, one of the things I like to do, black still has all 8 of his pawns left, even though they're all isolated and doubled. Okay, the game continued. Queen E2 is a funny move. After rook takes threatens the bishop and the rook, and you get the open file. And he took anyway. Then he played the only move. Okay, this is a softball question for the gawking rabble. What's the only move for black? The engine doesn't like that Hort took the queen. Yeah, rook c2 is correct. Now, in this position, the engine says knight takes d5 is the best move. He took on e7, which it doesn't like as much. It doesn't like rook c2, wants to play c5. It says this is equal. It says this should just be a draw. White plays for the win. Never play f3. Engine says this is all zeros. Okay, and here Miles blundered. So Hort was better or equal the whole game. Hort gave away his advantage at the end game, and now it's a draw. And White has one move that draws, but he didn't play it. Have I ever analyzed the game between Hort and Spassky when Hort lost on time? I don't think so. I've analyzed every game ever played, so maybe. I just can't remember. White has one move that draws. Beast puts the best. Yeah, you have to play rook a7. Then it's a draw. Kingpin said rook a7, which could be either one. Terrible answer. Yeah, rook e7 is shallow and pedantic. Okay. So the problem that the chat has, and by the chat I mean C.L. Smith, this is a threat. Black has another threat, which C.L. Smith missed and Miles missed. Kingpin says you got to stop rook g8. That's correct. Miles played here probably to take on d5. Then Hort played rook g8, threatening rook g4 mate. Now the engine says rook takes f7 is the best move. God damn. He played e4 and then he resigned. So you can take either way on e4 and you're still threatening rook g4 and rook f3. Rook g4 doesn't work now because of king e3. But taking either way is the same. Now we're threatening rook f3 mate. You can't defend with your rook because I check and check and take your rook. So you have to play rook takes d5. Then I check, and blacks up a lot of pawns and so forth. +7 it says. Slightly better for black is to take this way so he can't take a pawn. Now, white just loses all of his kingside pawns. White plays king e3 and loses this and this. So Miles made a horrible blunder, missing rook g8, and ended up losing. Never play f3. Yeah, if he plays rook here, then rook g8 fails to rook f7. And now the engine says white has mate in 16. If I play king e5, threatening mate. Yeah, so rook here was forced, and then after rook g8, he played e4 and resigned. Taking either way gives black a 3-pawn advantage. Hort did not hit the clock. No. Let's see, who texted me? Probably Karen. No, it was my brother. I guess the Tigers won. The Tigers won 10-9 in 11 innings. The Boston Red Sox had 2 blown saves. In the 11th inning, Boston scored 2 and Detroit scored 3. God damn. What a game. 10-9. The Tigers are too good. Who's better here? White resigned. Because after take this way or take this way, the engine says black is +7. The Tigers are better than the Braves. Tigers have the best record in baseball. The Braves hit 500. Although, I guess if Acuna, who hit a home run today in like A-ball or something, Acuna and Strider come back, then Atlanta will be pretty good. If you said who were the 5 best players on the Braves, Acuna and Strider are in the top 5. Probably they're in the top 4. Some people think Ozuna is good, and some people think Chris Sale is good. I don't think anybody else can claim to be better than Strider or Acuna. Yeah, Acuna's doing rehab now. Strider actually pitched a game this year, and he stopped. But I think in June they're both going to be playing again. Chris Sale's not having the year that he had last year. Truth hurts. You know who is having a good year is the former Braves pitcher who's now best pitcher on the Yankees. He's 6-0 with a 1.1 ERA. God damn. And he played for the Braves last year, Max Fried. Yeah. They think he's second in the Cy Young voting. They still think Skubal has a better chance. I don't know how he could be better than 6-0 and 1.1. The Skubal's pretty good. Freedom. All right, next game. Oh. This game was played in 1962 in the Olympiad. I guess it was Czechoslovakia, the U.S. And 1962, Hort's white, Robert Byrne is black. I don't know if it's board 1 or board 2. because I don't know, Fischer was playing or what board Fischer was. So if Fischer was board 1, then this could be board 2, and if Fischer was playing but he took the round off, then this would be board 1. Also of note, Reshevsky was pretty good in 62. I don't know what board Robert Byrne played in 62. I don't know what board Hort played, because 62 is very early in Hort's career. So he might not have been board 1 or 2. By the way, George Michael, he really enjoyed my Dr. Pepper joke. It's Zippy Tuna. LaBouche 12 subscribed. Good, good. Have more people in the chat heard of Vlastimil Hort or George Michael? And has anybody heard of both of them other than me? Probably C.L. Smith. One time, I was talking to Carissa Yip. She was 13 maybe. And I was talking about somebody famous who had just one name. And she's like, I never heard of him. And I said, yeah, he's one of the famous people with one name, like Madonna. And she said, I never heard of Madonna. And then I was going to say, well, like Cher. But if Yip hasn't heard of Madonna, then she hasn't heard of Cher. So I gave up. But basically, Carissa Yip hadn't heard anybody. It had to be somebody recent. You know, like Lady Gaga. She probably heard of Lady Gaga. Not that Lady Gaga's recent, but recent for me. Yeah, 5 minutes with Ben is pretty good content. That's funny, Oldrich. Or wait, what's your name? Yeah, Oldrich. Yeah. Where did Lady Gaga get the name Gaga from? I've known this for over 10 years, but do you guys know? I've probably said it on stream. That's right, Pappy Pud. She was a Queen fan, and she got it from the song Radio Gaga. Yeah, and Zippy Tuna got it on YouTube. You thought Byrne was a club level player? In the 1970s, Byrne was a candidate for the World Championship. Lost the candidates match to Spassky. Byrne was one of the top 5 players in the U.S. for like 20 years. Donald Byrne never got the GM title. Robert Byrne was much stronger than Donald Byrne. Donald Byrne was known as a good blitz player. And Fisher has a famous game against each one of them. The one in 56, where he sacks his queen in a Grunfeld, that's against Donald Byrne. The stronger Robert Byrne is the one where he sacks a piece and he opens up White's king. And Byrne resigned when some of the Grandmaster commentators thought Byrne was winning. Man, the truth hurts. They got burned. Yeah, they were brothers, Robert and Donald Byrne. Okay, so here's Hort Byrne from 1962. This was the same Olympiad. Okay, so they transposed into Samish King's Indian. And surprisingly, Byrne played the Byrne variation. God damn. This line actually named after Byrne, and Kasparov played it successfully against Karpov in one of their world championship matches. You play A6, C6, and B5. It's called the Byrne variation. And here's a game Byrne played it and got burned. And then Hort put it in H, which was the style at the time. The engine says black should play H5, but Byrne played E5. And now it says white should play D5, but Hort ignored that and played H5. And now the arbiter stopped the game because it was too exciting. Engine agrees with knight H5. It says G4 is a mistake, and black should play knight F4, and black is better. And surprisingly, black is also better after knight G3, the idea of which is after knight takes G3, we take on D4. But he played knight F6, which the engine says is bad. Now it says he should always sack the exchange, play bishop H8. He played E takes D4, which the engine says is terrible. And this position, engine says the only move to continue fighting is rook G8. Then it says white's up 1.27. Black played knight E5, losing immediately. Okay, does anybody find the winning move for white? It's very hard to find. I don't blame Byrne for missing it. There's one correct answer in the chat. Somebody used their engine. That's good. So, beep, I'm a Jeep. Got the right answer. Knight takes C6. God damn. And the idea is, if you take on C6, I play knight D5, black knight can't get to D7, which is where it was. And so white is threatening, knight takes F6 and mate. And the engine actually announces mate here. engine variation is knight h5, rook takes, knight f6, bishop f5, stopping mate, rook e8 check, sacrificing the queen, and then white gives mate soon. It was mate, and then it said it wasn't mate. What? How could it not be mate? Yeah, and then white gives mate. White's up a queen, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's why you can't play knight takes c6. According to the engine, best move is bishop e6, giving up your queen. Yeah, truth hurts. Byrne played knight takes d3 check. Hort played king d2, and Byrne resigned. Again, engine says bishop e6 is the best move, then you lose your queen. If you move your queen, I don't know, b6, I don't know. Then queen takes f8 check. So I guess queen e8's the best queen move. Then after knight d5, it's over. It's mate in 4. Because there's too many checkmates. That was a nice finish from Hort. Knight takes c6, king d2, resigns. Good, good. No, the Czech guy's going to sleep. Although it is late in Czechoslovakia. Knight takes c6 was the brilliant move. Yeah, Hort got burned that game. I mean, Byrne got horted. Okay, last game, double or nothing. That's the wrong mouse. This is our 8th game. It's between Vlastimil Hort white, Dragula Minich is black. This was played at zonal tournament, which I guess is the tournament before the interzonal, in 1967. Hort's white, played at King's Indian. Hort played not the same-ish. Played bishop e2, bishop g5. Also popular, big favorite of American Grandmaster Gregory Kaidanov. Always plays this against the King's Indian. We'd also play bishop f4. I don't know which one Kaidanov plays. King h7 is always a bad move. King h7, rook e8. Come on, be serious. Yeah, this is just a terrible Benoni for black. White's already strategically winning, in my opinion. It says rook takes e6 is the best, and f takes e6 loses. He played rook takes e6. Yeah, this is just terrible for black. Deep one's weak. No compensation. Yeah, that's a mistake. It is the losing move because now white's winning. This black should have played b6. I mean, if I attack somebody's e-pawn and they ignore it, they're a better player than me, and I would reconsider. Yeah, then white plays knight d5, the refutation. Bishop d3. f5 is a bad move. Should retreat, knight ef6. And after knight f4, it says white's much better. It says white's completely winning. g6 is weak. Pieces all suck. I was wondering what would happen after rook f4. Engine just says knight f6 and white's winning. But he played rook f4. Now I don't have to wonder anymore. That's correct. Wow, Hort played the best move here. God damn. If Hort retreats with rook g3, it says white's completely winning. But Hort played the most accurate move. Always sack the exchange. And black's king can't escape from the white queen, rook, and knight. These pieces aren't helping. In this position, king f8 walks into checkmate, and king g8. This is still checkmate. It says queen e1, c1 check, knight e1, and mate's coming. So you play king g6, knight e5 check. Okay, there's one move that leads to checkmate. Otherwise, if white plays like the second best move, white's only +7. Hort played the move that leads to checkmate. It's mate in 8, and Hort played the first move. See if you guys can find it. So far, nobody in the chat got it. I can't believe Hort's better than you guys. He just passed away. You guys should be better now, but you're still not. Somebody on YouTube got it. Luke Pukington. Although it's probably not pronounced Pukington, but the truth hurts. Yeah, he played rook g7. That's the correct move. So the best move is queen h4. That's mate in 7. The second best move is queen takes f2. That's mate in 6. Black played bishop e6. White has mate in 5. The first move is easy. The second move is not easy. And Hort played them both. Good technique by Hort. So the first move is queen h3. Black has one legal move. Now, white has mate in 4, which Hort played. And after Hort's move, black resigned. If you played this move in a real game, you would be required to stand up and say, and you will know my name is the Lord. You're required to, if you find the right move. This was first played in the game God versus Damn. Never play f3. Nobody in either chat got it, but one person I think has the right answer, but he didn't write it correctly. Instead, he wrote an illegal move. But I think he knows the answer. He just didn't write it correctly. Yeah, J Hollow, and then I think Why So SOL meant to say knight g6, but he wrote g6. Freaking the Sheet subscribed. Bam! Also played in the game Gotcha versus Bitch. I mean, I never get to play moves like Knight G6. It's like Morphe versus Amateur. Even C.L. Smith is impressed. He's not easy to impress. Okay, so the idea is queen takes queen mate. The only move that stops queen takes queen mate is queen takes queen. Then we check. King h4 is the only legal move. Then we play g3. And the only legal move is this. Then we take either way with mate. Obviously, you should take towards the center. Mate. I'd like to point out, because I find it humorous, the engine says the second best move, other than mate, is rook g6, and white is plus 2.3. And the only move that doesn't get mated is queen g2 check. After king g2, it says that black is better. Not sure why. Why is black better? Knight g4? Why is black better there? I don't know. Okay, but knight g2, and white maintains the advantage. And white has a winning endgame, it says. Yeah, rook g6 is a funny move. But yeah, mate is better. So after knight g6, Minich resigned. And not a minute too soon. And that's homage to Vlastimil Hort, who unfortunately passed away yesterday. If you're watching from Europe, passed away 2 days ago. And he was 81. Anyway, go on the internet and look up information on Vlastimil Hort, because somebody you should have heard of, being he was one of the top 10 players in the world, played in several Olympiads, and played candidates matches in the 70s. Have I played him? No. And now you never will. All right, who should we raid? Or is it whom? Right, I'll see you guys on Saturday. I'm out of town Thursday to Saturday, but I'll be back in time for my Saturday stream. Or I'll see you tomorrow night on my weekly lecture, which is on the Boleslavsky Sicilian. Thanks for watching, everybody.